Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back today with Ann Almeida talking about her company and, of course, how she can help you. Serendipity Wellness. Welcome back to the show. How you doing today, Ann?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. So your overall purpose, there's so much to you, a mom, a career woman, so much more, but you really just love helping people grow and
Yes.
become successful. And you're very helpful just by nature. And of course, hence you started your own business. Could you talk to us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, of course. The main goal of Serendipity Wellness is to promote kindness and to give people better days, basically, because better days end up being better weeks and better months and a better life, and it ripples out into everybody. And so I really want to start the Serendipity movement, which is just being kind to others. And it's anybody you encounter. If you just smile at someone, it warms you. It's a good positive energy that's being given to you, and it can change your whole day. If somebody scowls at you, then you kind of get grumpy too, So the Serendipity movement, I just want people to consider how they interact with others in every city across the world, because we could all be a little bit more kind and more patient with people.
Beautiful. And let's talk. The website is serendipitywellness.app. Is that true?
Yes. And it's going through a second revision.
Great.
And this revision is taking me a little bit longer because it's a lot more personal. You'll learn a lot more about me and what's, it's that fine line. I check myself at the door, but at the same time, I think people need to understand where I'm coming from and what I've experienced and how I know from firsthand experience how to help a lot of people, but have the ability to also empathize with other circumstances.
Great. So you are a life coach, correct?
Yes, I am.
And
a fitness instructor and an energy healer. So we've got a trifecta going.
Even more, you wear many hats. So what is it today that you wanted to discuss with your viewers and listeners here today?
Just some simple things that you can do now to feel better without anything more, but just in general. A lot of it comes from, I think, how you feel about yourself. So looking at self-care, which I know we've talked about before, but one thing, just small, tiny thing that I've recently done, and it's helped me. Look at your posture, not yours. Yours looks very good. But for all the listeners, look at how your shoulders are. I've lived most of my life crunched over. See, I can do this since it's a Zoom. Yeah. And it's a natural inclination. When you stand taller and your shoulders back and down, it gives you kind of a confidence boost. Yeah. Just a little oomph, and I want people to try that because I think it'll make a difference.
Yeah. All right.
And the other simple thing, if everybody would add an hour onto their sleep schedule. Give yourself another hour and see what happens.
Tell me the importance of the sleep on the mind, the body,
it's so important. Our mind is doing so many things when we're sleeping. And if you're not giving it the sleep, then you're not fully recovering. There's more that goes on to us at night, or with us internally at night and in our mind. You have to resting is as essential as water is to a fish.
Wow. That's good to know.
I mean, we can't. Yeah.
And so many years of my life getting 4 hours of sleep, working in television news in the city.
Yes.
And when I stopped doing that full time, could I tell you how much better I feel? And by the way, I still do it every now and then. I fill in. And the days I got to get up at 1:45 a.m., but I'm going to bed with my kids at 10, it does no one any good. It's a horrible.
It doesn't.
And now at 43, I really feel it and understand it. I did it in my 20s.
Yes.
And it was, but again, I had no kids. So I was able to come home and nap and do the half sleep thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what I get now is this amazing benefit of going to sleep with my children, sleeping 8 hours. I've never had that. And I can tell you
that's wonderful.
From experience, I feel like $1 million. So I agree with you on that. I think more sleep is helpful. I know they say successful people wake up early bird catches the worm.
Yeah.
I get that. So you know what? Just go to bed a little earlier.
Exactly. And the big thing too, stop feeling guilty for what you haven't done yet. Think about what you have done. Because a lot of times what keeps me up, because I'm 43 as well. And up until 6 months ago, I would stay up till 2 a.m. and run on 4 or 5 hours because I was trying to get so much done in a day and trying to see my kids and run a house. There was always something kind of faltering, and it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, in 10 years, nobody's going to remember if I did the dishes at night on April 19th. It doesn't matter. My kids aren't going to end up in therapy because the dishes are dirty. They might end up there otherwise, but like it's not from the dirty dishes. So sometimes I think we, especially as working women, we feel like we have to do it all. And yes, we have to wear a lot of hats, but nobody has to do it all.
Yeah, you're so right about that. You're right. Nobody's going to remember that had dirty dishes. I'm that person. Dishes have to be done. And
Yes.
guess what? Mentally, it's not good for me because it stresses me out, and then it keeps me up later, and I'm trying to run around, and it's okay. Take it easy. Take a break.
It can be liberating to leave the dishes one night. The first night I did it, I was like, oh my gosh, I left the dishes last night. I was kind of weird about it. It took like 3 times to be like, yeah, I'm all right with that. They'll get done when they get done.
I decided to leave the toy room a total mess. And
yes, that was a big step for me back. Yeah, I remember those days.
And I got a ding dong, and it was actually a social care worker for my brother that wanted to talk to me about my brother, and I'm like, slob, and I'm like, I was humiliated. I left like the tents and the blankets all over the couches. You know how kids are.
Oh yes.
I said that woman's gonna always remember me as a slob, but okay. Mr. Fry, there's more important things out there. You're right. Prioritize.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ann. What else do we have?
This is going into, well, I still want to talk about more with self-care and how fitness plays into all of it, because this kind of gets into energy work as well. So when you have, so bear with me, we're going to go in a full circle. When you have that feeling where you just don't feel right, or you feel like something's wrong, or you feel sad, angry, any of those, they're negative emotions, they're heavy. So not using positive and negative, because that's kind of, they're part of you. It's okay to feel angry or feel heavy, but you have to process it so it doesn't stay. And it's a very dense negative energy. When you work out, that's releasing negative energy. So you don't even know it, but that's why you feel better at the end. You feel lighter because you're releasing all the negative energy out. And the key is finding what you love to do.
Yeah.
So fitness wise, if you're on a mat, or if you like cardio, if you like music, all of those things, you have to figure out what's yours so that it can be a lifestyle change, because it's something that you enjoy. And so one of the things that I really want to do, I want to get people into fitness who aren't accustomed to it, that are maybe intimidated by a gym, or just don't have a lot of time, feel like they can't make the time for themselves. And I'll, on the site are going to be quick tracks and things that you can do and kind of put together, even if you just have 20 minutes. But also I really want people to reach out to me and tell me what they want. If they want more tracks that are done to fish and widespread panic, that's fine. We can do that. Like, there's no reason why, if you're not a hip hop person, you don't have to do hip hop. Like, you can do other things and fit it in and get strong arms and feel better, because all of that, you're releasing negative energy. You're filling it back up with something positive. And it's a better feeling once you get past it.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Self-care. It's all about us taking care of ourselves, because that's how we can take care of others better and be more productive.
Yes. I never understood that. When they used to say on the airplanes, like, put the oxygen mask on you first and then your kids, I'd always look around, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to put it on my kids first. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah. And I still don't know if I would have the reflex to put it on myself first. Be like, well, I can survive without oxygen longer than they can. Sure. So it's hard. It's a daily thing, and 1% every day. If you don't get to something that's yours in a day, again, it doesn't matter. Think about it in a year. Will it matter in a year? Will it matter in 5? And that's kind of your assessment.
Yeah.
And it really helps to knock things into the right category.
Yeah.
With where you are.
And could you tell us how we could contact you and get in touch? We're not taking a break, but we're going to keep continuing through. So Ann Almeida, life coach, give us your website and best forms of contact, please.
Yes, it's serendipitywellness.app. And you can reach out to me. There is a contact form there that'll go straight to me. And over email, you can do serendipitywellness.ann@gmail.com.
And social media?
Social media, there's Facebook and Instagram. Both are Serendipity Movement.
Perfect. All right, let's continue.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take a sip of something to drink, though.
I'm
Am
guilty.
I allowed to do that on? I'm like, I was waiting for that break. I'm like, well, I'm a little thirsty.
You could do that. I have my water, have my coffee, whatever it is of choice.
Mhm.
Hydrate. No, water is better, so don't be mad that I'm having coffee, but I'll take some of that too.
It's the water's. I'm a Diet Coke person, so water's the
Oh, okay. Good.
yes, 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 yes.
So to continue, self-care, are we still continuing down that path?
Well, I wanted to kind of flip the switch. This was gonna, if it was after a break, and talk about things that are a little bit more serious on the serious side of things, with traumas.
Yeah.
And this is a special area, an area I would like to focus on and be able to help people because I know that I can. And trauma is relative to you. What is traumatic to you may not be traumatic to me. Just because there's a connotation with the word trauma that doesn't have, it can make people minimize what happened to them because they'll say, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. It was my boyfriend who touched me when I didn't want him to. It wasn't like I got bothered by a stranger in some alley, so because of that connotation with trauma, I want everybody to recognize that if it's bothering you and it's not going away, there's a reason why it's still showing up. And the key is to ask yourself why. And there could be a multitude of reasons, it all depends. But after you process the emotions and what happened, you also need to accept it as part of your whole. You don't want to stuff it away. Right. So, when you have a trauma bond situation, a common thing to do is to not feel the emotions because you're kind of in a state of disbelief and you're trying not to, you're in disbelief. You don't want it to be that you're in the situation that you've read about or that a friend did and you're smarter than that. How could this happen? And so you minimize it and it escalates and it compounds and it becomes something that festers because your heart knows it's not where you need to be, but your mind needs to catch up. Yeah. And it's a cycle. And that's with any trauma, I think. And it's important to go back and revisit it if you can. There's certain guided meditation that has proven to be very effective as far as integrating it back within you. So you're not leaving it behind. You're not pushing it away. You're incorporating it back into your whole. And it's not a focus. You don't stay in it. So once you process it, you're not going to stay stuck in this emotional hold and keep revisiting it. Good. Because it'll stop showing up. And then the next thing will show up and you dig deep into why. So with any of these, you could say the overall blanket thing too, regardless if it's a trauma or not, when something keeps showing up in your life in different situations or the same situation, it's because you're being called to address it. Yeah. So instead of getting angry or frustrated, you can get curious. And so it's with all aspects of life, I guess.
Yeah, we've all experienced something, right? Would you
Absolutely.
say in a trauma-full year, this pandemic, that's trauma, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of loss of life, of people we've known, loss of the everyday, loss of the norm, loss of jobs. There's
lots of innocence too, with having to talk to kids about wearing masks. If you think back to our childhood, if they told us to wear a mask, it's just, I don't know. It's just kind of boggling.
Yeah, really. All right. So it's good to know we've all been there. We've all been through something.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, with people I think people started to get kind of down. The numbers are going back up and it's, who knows what's going to happen. People are getting vaccinated, which is good. Yeah. But then some, there's question if it's working and
yeah.
Right. And it's, I think it's easy also with domestic cases. People have been trapped in, there's been an absolute surge in domestic violence because people who used to be able to escape and go to work or have their spouse go to work or their child or whatever the circumstance, they can't go anywhere. So that's something that it's a tough situation. I want to eventually be able to offer, especially women, services and kind of help shape the law a little bit better to deal with domestic abuse that's not just physical. And so hopefully that'll be a good outcome of COVID with the increase in cases that we can kind of evolve from there. But if you're getting down, it's normal. I want people to know that whatever they're going through, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. Okay. That's what it is. There's a company that started putting out things and it's okay to not be okay. Yeah. And that's a huge thing because we beat ourselves up and think we have to be happy in everything all the time. And it's a yin and a yang. The key is just to not get as sad as, when you kind of go down that rabbit hole and you're just kind of stuck in a state of disarray. You want to try and get out of that and kind of raise that level. But most importantly is that it's okay to not be okay is a big thing.
And it's okay to be one with nature. Is that birds I'm hearing?
Yes, it is. Hopefully it's not too loud. I planted all my plants the other day, so I was very excited. They're slow to grow, but yes, down in Alabama, if you wait until April 15th.
Right? There's something to be said for being outside, nature for the mind. I mean, it's got to be.
Yes.
I love that you're outside today, by the way.
Which that brings up a good point. Self-care does not mean that we're taking it back to the beginning, but self-care doesn't mean that you go to the spa and get your nails done. It doesn't have to be something tangible.
Mm-hmm.
It can be sitting outside and just taking a breath in the sun.
Good.
Just close your eyes and just look up at the sun, look up at the stars, look up at the moon, take a deep breath and realize that we're part of something bigger than just what we're upset about right now, and kind of give yourself some perspective. But just being outside in general, planting a garden, taking care of a plant, that's all self-care because it's rewarding. But being out in nature is definitely big, even if it's just I like to sit and watch the clouds. So whatever you did kind of as a child.
Yeah, good. Can be very helpful. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Like a casual conversation we have. It's important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So next on tap for us, Miss Ann?
Energy healings.
Yeah.
I love going back to energy work.
And
so much fun.
Here, so we have to remember, I only learned about this 2 years ago, energy healing. It's a concept that I still think people, I know for sure, don't know, because I talked to a lot of my friends about my job and I said I spoke to so-and-so and I learned about Reiki. So could you explain it to us? You give us the basics 101 and then we'll go further into it for those that obviously, a little more experience. Go ahead.
Right. Yes. Well, I concur with you. It was probably 9 months ago when I kind of learned about energy work. And I knew from friends and acquaintances that, they talked about the high vibration and they talked about things, but I didn't know how to get there. I was like, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand. And even when I started the program where I got certified, I felt like the odd man out. I was like, all these people are talking about energy and chakras. I'm like, I don't have a clue what's going on here.
Okay.
And so if you're clueless, it is okay because there's always a time to learn. But essentially everything is energy. The table that you're resting your elbows on is energy. Us as people, we're energy. So say you're walking down the street and everything's fine, your day's going well, and you walk past someone and all of a sudden you're like, ugh, whoa, what just happened? I was having a good day and now I'm kind of, I just feel heavy. And you could be picking up their energy.
Okay.
So it's a matter of protecting it and being able to release it. So doing stuff outside in the garden, it's all the self-care. That's where it comes in to release that negative energy. Mm-hmm. And what you can do with a healing, you can go in and set the intention to heal from something, which is just saying, it's whatever you believe religious wise. You could pray to God, you could pray to the universe, angels, Buddha, it doesn't matter. It's not all, it's not woo-woo. We're not replacing religion. And you can just say, I set the intention to heal from whatever the incident is. And that's what you're focusing on in the healing. Yeah. And then on my end, I'm focusing on clearing your chakras. So we all have certain energy centers. Every human being has this. And so you've got the crown chakra, which is at the top at the crown. And you've got your third eye, which is at the forehead, your throat, which is where you would think, your heart. And then you've got your sacral, we're going on down, solar plexus, your root. There's also a left ear, which is masculine energy, and a right ear, which is feminine energy. Which is very interesting. That was a big, have you heard of that? The feminine and masculine?
No.
So masculine energy is like yelling. Yelling would be a masculine energy that comes in. Like it's more precise things, it's more defined things, it's schedules, it's rigor, whereas the feminine's more artistic and creative and free flowing. And it's a balance because being the feminine energy as a woman, I have a hard time with that because, I've kind of delved into art and things like that. And I have a hard time thinking that could be a legitimate job. Obviously it can be, of course it can be, but, I'm so used to being dominated by, my mathematical world, which is more of a masculine energy. So it's a balance of both, and it can get kind of stuck.
Yeah.
So I always had issues with sensitivity of yelling and things growing up, and I'm more sensitive to masculine energies, and that's kind of carried through with my job and with everything else in life, so it's interesting from that perspective. But the healings, it's very, you don't have to share what's going on in your head. It's all in your head, and it's in my head, which is the energy space is in another, it's above, which was very hard for me to kind of grasp, because I was like, wait, what? Like, what? How are you doing a heal? What? I don't understand. But that is something that, you just have to kind of wrap your head around and just trust it. And once you go through it and you feel it, the trust starts, because it's a totally different feeling than anything. I don't know. It's amazing. It's very hard to put into words, but it really is amazing. And the effect is profound. Even almost right away.
Absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
No, I mean, you could use energy healing Reiki for so many different things. I think I might have brought this up, but like in New York at like the big hospitals, the Columbia Presbyterian, Sloan Kettering, which you may have heard of, and not just in New York, I mean, everywhere around the country, around the world, it is recognized now on these prestigious medical websites, right? You think medicine, people were not believing in energy. It's like,
exactly.
And now all of a sudden they're like working together saying, hey, this could work for someone who's severe, has a severe illness, pain, cancer. So it's pretty fascinating. Energy work has come along.
It is.
And it's being now
yes.
And those that are more on the medical side are now accepting it and realizing, wow, we're seeing the positive here. We're seeing the good that it's doing and how it can really be beneficial. So it's nice to see those two worlds kind of.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right.
And that was a big thing for me, kind of transitioning over when I found my program. I was backed by neuroscience, and I was like, okay, well, I can follow the science of this. This makes sense. And really, it's 95% of our brain is our subconscious. Wow. We don't even know we're doing things. So our world is being operated by 3 to 5% of our brain. Wow. And all the rest is going on behind the scenes. So if you think about it from that standpoint, like think about when you first learned to drive a car, you didn't know what you were doing. You were checking everything and doing the wipers and figuring it all out. Now, when you get in a car, you get in the car. Like you don't even think.
Second nature. Yeah.
Yeah. It's second nature. And so that's what your subconscious is. It's kind of like when somebody says, oh, it's like riding a bike, tapping in your subconscious. That's what it is. And so there are ways to rewire your subconscious. So therapy can't rewire you. Maybe it can after 25 years. I don't know. I'm going on to 25 years, so maybe I can tell you, but I don't know. It's a little different. Therapy kind of deals with the day-to-day, which is great. And it definitely has its place. And I'm talking about talk therapy. With what I do and with neuroscience in general, you're rewiring your brain. You're rewiring the subconscious. Wow. So it's kind of like if you were in a maze and you got to a dead end, neuroscience would help you break through that dead end, and so that you could go where you want to go, where your brain and your heart wants to be. You want to get there. Yeah. So it's all with neuroscience, and it's amazing the differences.
Absolutely.
And the ripple effect. Yes.
So when you're doing Reiki with someone, it's virtual or it's in person?
Yes.
Or both. And
it's virtual. I've done both. I've done both.
And it works just the same. Some people might be, well, how does it work through but energy is what? There's no time.
It's in another dimension above us. So it's in another realm, which is just, it's a little mind-boggling, but it is absolutely true.
Right here. We could be like, that's crazy.
I was having an energy healing done on me, and there was something where she wanted me to picture a color, and I didn't tell her what the color. I mean, she's in Pennsylvania and I'm in Alabama, right? And she said, hold on a second. She said, I'm seeing pink. And I had my eyes closed and my entire world was pink, like Pepto-Bismol pink. Wow. And I was like, how did you do that? I'm like, that's amazing. And it really doesn't matter if you're here or there.
Beautiful. It really is. And how did you discover energy healing, by the way?
It plays a lot into the coaching. So the program that I do, Mandy is kind of the coaching side and Oliver's the spiritual side, and they merge together to kind of bring it all in full circle. And it's amazing.
All right, good. We still have 3 minutes left. Let's continue. Do you want to add a little more to this or talk about how people can, work with you and what's the process?
Yeah, we can talk about what the process is. You can reach out to me on the website or over email and just let me know what's going on with you. You don't have to say much. You could say, oh, I need some help. You could say, I want one session. You could say, I need years of sessions, but you don't have to commit to multiple it can be kind of as you go.
Yeah.
And just see what you need, because I don't want people to think I'm only focused on traumas and I only want to help people who have been through significant things. Not significant. That's a terrible word. I didn't mean that word. Like more severe things, or, they're comparing it. If you could have the most amazing life and have no issues from childhood, raising your children just the same, be such a happy, well-grounded person, but say you always fuss at your kids if they spill the milk. Like it's just a knee-jerk reaction and you feel like a witch afterwards because you're like, I don't know why I did that. It's so easy to clean up spilled milk. I just made them cry. I'm going to work feeling guilty. Those type things. That's part of your programming, because somewhere along the way you saw somebody who did that and that was all you knew. That's what you know. And so it's in your subconscious and it just comes out, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Okay. That's the biggest thing I want people to know, that you can change that. And then I have one more thing that I want people to know. Okay. When you lose your keys, forget it. Say, I know I put them somewhere, and just don't stress. Just say, I know they're here. Keys don't walk. Keys don't go anywhere. Just say, I know they're here somewhere, and just let it go. Do something else. You will find your keys.
Same with the remote control, no?
Same with the remote control, same with the phone. I've done this hundreds of times and it is the coolest thing every time I do it. It works. All right. It really works.
I just lost the remote.
So try it.
I couldn't find it. Frustrated. I left. Eventually by the night I found it, but I did panic at first. Guilty. All right.
I do it too. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
We'll come back this time. And Almeida, one more time, how can we reach you?
At serendipitywellness.app. app, or at serendipitywellness.anne@gmail.com.
Beautiful.
To reach out. Yes.
Thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day there in
Alabama. Thank you.
Tonight, and it looks nice, warm and sunny. What's the temperature there?
Yesterday was the 50s, but today it's in the 70s.
Wow, it was in the 30s this morning in New York, warming up at like the 50s today, but we got a serious wind. So enjoy. I love the air outside, the positive energy emanating from you. I could feel it. I could see it. I'm with it.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a great
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
You too.
Do the same. Stay tuned. We have more of the show coming right up after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.